Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Friday, July 14th, 2023, and today we are going to be talking about the state of Arizona and Kari Lake, the 2022 Republican nominee for governor, who says in Tucson, the capital of the state, that she's actively considering a run for Senate in the 2024 Senate race, a race that the Democratic Party is hoping that they hold on to after Senator Kyrsten Sinema left the Democratic Party and became an independent who caucuses with the Democratic Party. Wide expectations here that there might be a three-way race between a Republican, Democrat, and Kyrsten Sinema as the independent. The Democrats are hoping the best case scenario comes out of the Senate race, which is a Democratic victory over a potential three-way race or potential head-to-head with a GOP candidate. And none better news than this Kari Lake discussion to the media that she is eyeing the Senate race, that she is putting her name in consideration for one of the highest offices in the state of Arizona. Now, for reference, Kari Lake is, again, the 2022 GOP nominee who lost to Katie Hobbs in the governor race. This was decided by just under a percentage point, but it was a flip in favor of the Democratic Party. And the interesting thing about this race is that even I expected Kari Lake to win this race. I think that there were a lot of people who did as well. The general wisdom here, notion, was that Kari Lake was on track for victory. It wasn't because Kari Lake was this exceptional candidate, but it's because she was a candidate in the race. Allow me to explain. Katie Hobbs never really did many campaign events to the extent that Kari Lake did. I don't deny that Katie Hobbs had a phenomenal campaign in retrospect, but in the months leading up to the election, the expectation was that Katie Hobbs was going to lose. Number one, she refused to debate Kari Lake, which was a huge no-no that Democrats have always went after the GOP for refusing to debate. If you remember David Perdue in the 2020 Senate election in the state of Georgia, he was slammed. Attack ad after attack ad for abandoning his constituents, refusing to show the people his true values. It was on and on and on, and yet fast forward 2 years later, the frontrunner Democratic nominee for governor in Arizona, a very winnable race, is refusing to debate with Kari Lake, refusing to be heavily considered for media interviews. Refusing and turning down local media, national media. Katie Hobbs did practically everything that the Democratic Party had hoped that she wouldn't, and she ultimately ended up winning, which is a testament to how, number one, good of a candidate she is, but more so a testament to how bad of a candidate Kari Lake was in retrospect. She lost a very winnable race, and had it been Karen Taylor Robson, for additional context, she was the GOP candidate who lost the primary to Kari Lake, a very competitive primary, 4 percentage points across the state. Had she won the primary, I think she would have been able to win. Because Kari Lake was extreme, right? She wasn't just this quintessential Republican that people disagreed with on issues like abortion and gun control. She was of the most extreme and partisan nature on the GOP side. She took the issue of the 2020 election and popularized it. Even today, she refuses to concede the election result, even very similar in vein to Donald Trump. She still says that the election was fraudulent. But when you look at where she was coming from at that point in time, Katie Hobbs went from being, again, the front runner to campaigning horribly enough that she started to lose every single subsequent poll. Katie Hobbs only led in one poll from Marist College, which got it right in November 2022, but everywhere else, Trafalgar, Data for Progress, a Democratic firm, Insider Advantage, Remington Research, all across the state, Emerson College, Phillips Academy, Fox News, Fabrizio Lee and Associates, OH Predictive Insights, Siena College, and the New York Times. Everyone said that Kari Lake was going to win. And because at the time, it made sense. This was one of the most shocking parts of the evening, and it was a testament, more so I would argue, to how bad of a candidate Kari Lake was. How unelectable that she took a race, that the expectations, the fundraising, the energy was on her side. And she lost. And she lost. And she wants to bring that to the 2024 Senate race in a way that Democrats are, gleefully encouraging her to run for Senate. And Republicans are scared because they don't have a bench anymore. Their candidate that could have been the 2022 next senator from Arizona, Doug Ducey, was pushed out by Donald Trump, right? Kari Lake came into 2022 in the governor's race, lost that race. Blake Masters lost his race as well. Arizona went blue in 2022. It went blue in 2020. It went blue in 2018. Do I need to spell it out for you? I mean, 2024 is going to be, sorry, that sounded condescending. I meant it in the way that if I'm, looking at this from the perspective of the Republican Party, why would you ever nominate Kari Lake? But I don't think the voters are too far shying away from it because based off the current polling, she's leading. And again, the GOP doesn't have a base. They do not have a bench. They do not have prominent Republicans to pull up from because all of them have either lost their elections or they refuse to associate with the non-John McCain current stance of the GOP. You can see of those who have declared already, you have a sheriff, Mark Lamb, who Kari Lake previously endorsed and walked back because guess what? She's considering another bid. Jib Lehman, who ran in 2022, lost the nomination, now considering another bid. Blake Masters won the nomination, lost the general election. What are you hearing? A lot of losses, a lot of losers, a lot of people that should not be the nominee from an electability standpoint, but because they believe they have enough support to win the general, because God knows they have the support to win the primary, that they could actually end up pulling this off. Maybe they think 2024 will be more favorable. Maybe Kari Lake genuinely believes that the election was stolen for her. I don't know what her actual thought process is, but it is ultimately rooted in ego, rooted in a refusal to recognize free and fair election results. But the Democrats, again, could not be happier. And people, are making this argument, there's no way that the Republican Party makes the same mistake they did in 2022 because they nominated all of the wrong people. Dr. Oz, Herschel Walker, Blake Masters. They're not going to do it again. Doug Mastriano, Tudor Dixon, Kari Lake. And yet I point to the most exceptional and stellar point of, personal proof. Not personal privilege. I do not know where the Parley Pro came in. But the point of proof on the national level that proves that theory wrong. I point to you the 2024 presidential GOP nomination polls that show President Donald Trump, the common denominator from all of the 2022 losses, now being the front runner, not just slightly, but up 32 points, with the majority of the GOP on his side without question, is reason enough to believe that Kari Lake, yes, Kari Lake, could be the nominee in 2024. And should she be the nominee, I have no doubt in my mind that voters turn out again against her. The Democrats are hoping for this type of circumstance, and we have already accounted for a potential scenario with Kari Lake. If we take Arizona in context for just a moment, humor me. Looking at the presidential results in 2020, does this look like a state that Democrats can afford to have an independent that used to align with them on the ballot? The answer is no. Arizona is a state that was decided by 0.31% in the last presidential election, decided by less than 20,000 votes out of a state with millions of votes cast. Democrats might have won in 2022, but won by less than a point against Kari Lake, won by 5 points against Blake Masters. It's by no means the next Maryland. It is just simply a swing state that Democrats have had favorable circumstances allow them to win. And that's exactly what would happen should Kari Lake be the nominee. Because as I said, they have accounted for this. This hypothetical polling that pits Ruben Gallego, the Democrat member of the House of Representatives who was long expected to primary Kyrsten Sinema, who is now in the race. There's three-way matchup polling. And you can see it, not only from PPP, but OH Predictive Insights and other pollsters that do this question. In a three-way race against Kari Lake, Kyrsten Sinema, and Ruben Gallego, in most cases, more often than not, Ruben Gallego wins. It's a fascinating result that shows that Kyrsten Sinema pulls away from the GOP base, but more so that there are plenty of people that seemingly voted for Democrats and Republicans in the last election that pour over into Kyrsten Sinema, but more so on the GOP side that were willing to back Republicans in 2022 that are no longer willing to back Kari Lake in the election. There are voters out there that I'm sure answered this poll that voted for Kari Lake that no longer want her to be the nominee for Senate and no longer want to vote for her on the Senate level because maybe they trusted her more with governor politics. Maybe they don't like her election denialism or her refusal to accept any type of election result. I mean, Kari Lake has made a worse name for herself after the election in a very similar fashion to the way that President Donald Trump has. It's so interesting to see Because quite frankly, Ruben Gallego is able to do well in these three-way races, but Kari Lake outside of PPP is also losing. It's not just one particular Democratic firm, which could be the argument for Doug Ducey, I don't believe that, Blake Masters, Karen Taylor Robson, but when you start to see more and more data come out from nonpartisan sources, even from partisan sources, when it becomes consistent, that's when you start to see it isn't just a fluke in one data set. No, this is reality. This is where the current state of Arizona is, and it's not favorable to the GOP. It's not winnable in a way that it otherwise should be. Now, in a head-to-head matchup between Ruben Gallego and Kari Lake, I do believe that we will see an even better result for the Democratic Party. I think should Kyrsten Sinema, gracefully bow out of the race, decide that she's not going to be running for re-election as an independent, and decides ultimately, okay, this is not where I'm going to be, but rather I'll make, impact elsewhere. And that's in a way respectable, right? She's leaving on her own terms, but moreover on the point that it allows Democrats to have a very good shot at victory. But Kari Lake, I think, is intrigued by the possibility that Kyrsten Sinema is running. I think Kari Lake at heart knows that she's not the best candidate for the job, but I do think at heart, too, she thinks that she could win. And that's a problem for the Arizona GOP. But then comes in the other problem. Like I said earlier, there's no bench. If not Kari Lake, then who? I don't think any of these people here really strike me as the most electable Republicans. Even those in the potential column here, Andy Biggs, I by far do not think is going to be the most electable. Of those who were, Doug Ducey, Karen Taylor Robson, both of which have declined to run for Senate in 2024. Maybe it's the job they don't want. Well, Doug Ducey does have a number of pieces of trouble with President Donald Trump, who very clearly does not want him to be a senator from Arizona. But all around here, you find that Republicans are in disarray. They don't know who to run in 2024, whereas Democrats, well, they've known the moment that Kyrsten Sinema became, in their eyes, an obstructionist against their agenda. That's a problem for the Arizona GOP. Democrats have it together. Maybe Kyrsten Sinema will run and it'll tank the Democratic Party's chances, which I think is a possibility. But against Kari Lake, I don't know if it tanks as much as we might think. Kari Lake is uniquely so unpopular that voters will turn out against her. They won't be voting just for Ruben Gallego. They will be voting against something. And there is not one more force more powerful across the United States than fear. Fear that someone like Kari Lake could be representing Arizona on the national level in Congress. That is a level of fear that I think will turn out voters the way it did in 2022. And with a lot of things on the line nationally, like abortion depending on who's president, like gay marriage depending on whether or not the state Supreme Courts in Texas eventually make a petition all the way up to the Supreme Court to reverse the decision of Obergefell v. Hodges. There are a lot of issues at hand here that the Republican Party cannot afford to take an unpopular stance on to win in a state like Arizona. And Kari Lake has not only, is she willing to take these stances, she already has. She has made herself an enemy of LGBT people in the state of Arizona. She has made herself an enemy of pro-choice people in the state of Arizona. She has made herself an enemy of respecters of democracy in the state of Arizona. She refuses to concede 2020. She refuses to concede 2022. And Lord knows it, if she runs in 2024, she will refuse to concede those results as well. She has made a name for herself, not a positive one, that I think will be a driving force, not only for Democrats on the Senate level in Arizona, but on the House level in those competitive districts. I mean, Arizona had quite a few competitive ones in 2022. Take a look at this, right? Decided by 0.88, decided by 1.5. Reasonably speaking, Democrats could be in the majority by 7.7% by the next map, 6-3, instead of being at 6-3 in favor of the GOP. There are ways to see how someone like Kari Lake being on the ballot post-election, because she's at an even worse point now, would lose. Not only lose, but become so unpopular that she drives out Democratic Party voters in Arizona's 2nd, in Arizona's 1st, in Arizona's 6th, and all the rest, and allows not only a victory for Democrats in the House, in the Senate, but also on the presidential level. There is a level here that should not be crossed, a line that Kari Lake has been, forcibly seen. By losing the last election, the voters put their foot down and said, Kari Lake, you are not stepping foot near the governor's mansion. And yet, for some reason, she wants to possibly explore the idea of entering Capitol Hill. I don't think it's going to work out, and I think Democrats are very happy with this consideration. And I think, quite frankly, in a very similar fashion to how they did in 2022, will not only encourage, but make attack ads against other Republicans to boost Kari Lake in 2024. They know that she is, not them, but she is the best chance Democrats have at maintaining Senate control. And Arizona is so important in 2024, especially with the potential entrance of an independent incumbent. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2024 Senate election analysis videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later today.